Well, we got a quorum now. We can start the meeting. And just let him in when he comes in.
Yep.
Bring him up
Yep.
to date. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners of the Brockton Housing Authority, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Everybody has their agenda with them. Let me read a statement from the city of Brockton. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and state of emergency, on March 12, 2020, Governor Baker issued an executive order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. Pursuant to the order, public bodies are temporarily relieved from the open meeting laws requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate or alternative means. If we could all rise for a pledge of allegiance. Tom, do you have a flag?
I do.
Oh, I see it there. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
with
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Will we remain standing for a moment of silence? We just got bad news this morning from Susan Keaton. Her husband has passed away. A moment of silence for her husband. Thank you. Just one item before we start. Carol, can you hear me all right?
Yeah,
And Janet? David?
Yes,
When a motion is being made, you don't have to read the whole motion. In other words, whatever the item is, item 2 or 3, is all you have to say is I move item 2. You don't have to read the whole thing twice. Just enough to save time, because I'm gonna read it anyway. So is all you have to do is move the item, and then we get a second, and then I'll read it off. We had done it before, and it started to work for a little while, and we ended up slipping back to it. So we need a roll call, 2 roll calls. One is, the first one is for the quorum, to make sure we have a quorum. Tom, if you could handle that, roll call. to quorum.
Commissioner Texera.
Here.
Commissioner Trask.
Here,
Commissioner Roberts.
here.
Mr. Chairman.
Here. And we do have a quorum. Item 1, Mr. Tebow, roll call.
Commissioner Texera.
here,
Commissioner Roberts.
Here,
Commissioner Trask.
here,
And Commissioner Sullivan.
Yeah. And just one note that we have, Ernest Pettiford is trying to call in. He hasn't got here as yet. Item 2, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of September 24th, 2020. Item A in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
Mr. Chairman, I have had the opportunity to review these, found them to be in order, and I would recommend that they be approved as written.
On this, David, Janet, or Carol, all you have to do is say so moved
so move,
on item 2. And we need a second.
second,
second. Okay, Janice got it.
So I'm sorry, I'm gonna just note who made the motion. Who made the motion?
David Texera's motion,
And Janet Trask. Thank you.
a motion has been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask, to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 24th, 2020, as presented and as written. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
aye,
Roll call.
A roll call. We have to do a roll call on all of them, sorry.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Item 3, hearing of visitors.
I do not see any.
Just a little note about the hearing of visitors, that any member of the public is invited to speak before the board. Visitors wishing to be heard will be allowed 3 minutes to speak on each subject. The board will take any issue under advisement and respond at a later date. Total time for hearing of visitors will be limited to 15 minutes. Are there any hearing of visitors?
There are no visitors here. All the others are here for business, as staff for business.
Okay, hearing none. Item 4, approval of the bills of the regular meeting of October 22nd, 2020. Item B in your packets. Commissioner Texera.
Mr. Chairman, I did have a chance to review the bills for the month of October, and I found it to be in order, and I would make a motion to approve it.
Second.
A motion's been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts, to approve the bills of the regular meeting of October 22nd, 2020, as presented and as written. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. A roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Motion carries unanimous. Item 5, approval of Brockton Housing Authority's rent collection policy. Item C in your packet. Mr. Tebow?
If I could ask Mr. Pacius to speak on this, please.
Sure. So what you have before you is a rent collection policy that DHCD has requested all housing authorities adopt, just so that their rent collection will be consistent throughout the state. So the policy that we had was quite dated. This policy is basically in compliance with what DHCD would like to have all housing authorities adopt. Thank you.
Okay.
Tom, just one question on that. I see that the rent is due on the 1st. It's got to be paid no later than the 5th. We've got rent receipts being delivered on the 5th.
Right. Yep. That will happen. And basically that's accounted for within that particular month. And it's also accounted for before we send the letters out. So,
And I just want to address it in, so this happened in September, I believe. Commissioner Sullivan got a call. Our managers got several calls. The mailing service that we use, JLS Mailing over at the old Mammoth Mart building on Crescent Street, they went to a new software. And in the old software, they had our bills slated to be mailed 5 days before the end of the month. The new software didn't have that. They have since corrected that. So that was an error last month. But as Mr. Pacia said, if we do send out the bills late, or for some reason they get there late, we would give them that grace period. We give that to them anyways. We don't do anything until somewhere in the middle of the month. But we do let them know it's due on the 1st of the 5th.
Tom, just a question about that. If that does happen and they don't get the rent receipt, is there some place they can go to pay it?
yes, we do have a drop-off box at Goddard. So,
I got a question.
Michael, that was cut out. I didn't get that.
we do have a drop-off box at Goddard Road. And sometimes what happens is tenants will slip the rent payment right under the door. So,
Okay.
I got it.
David, you had a question?
Yes, I do. Do we charge them a late fee after the 5th?
no, we don't.
We found Commissioner Texera, years ago, we had it, it was uncollectible, the courts would never enforce it. and it caused balances to get onto their accounts that went against us. So it's
Okay.
an uncollectible amount that reduced our subsidy. So right now, their real late fee is, if we have to give them a 14-day notice, that costs them $38, I think, and 50 cents.
We need a motion, item 5, from anybody?
So moved.
Second,
A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner David Texera. Motion is to approve Brockton Housing Authority's rent collection policy as presented. Any questions on the motion? Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
yes,
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
yes,
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous.
I'll talk to her a minute.
Item 6,
She said she was gonna call
review of
back.
financial comparatives, Exhibit D in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
If I could ask Mr. Pacius to speak on this?
Yes. So what you have before you is our August financial statements, and that is we're 8 months into our fiscal year. Basically, all the programs are running according to, what we budgeted for, with the exception of the state program. And as you know, that's been a constant issue that we're trying to resolve with the state as well. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
I would also like to add that in AMP1 and AMP2, the surpluses are very significant, and that's because we receive CARES Act funds. These are funds that we can only use to address COVID-related issues. So Burgess comes 7 days a week and sanitizes all our high rises, elevators, and that. We're paying for that type of thing, masks, there's a number of different things. So that's why the surplus in the federal AMPs is so high.
okay,
I just wanted to say, Mr. Pacius, it looks great that there's 8 or 9 departments in the surplus and 6 or 7 of them. And it's only the one that has a deficit. It
The
looks real good.
Yeah, everyone's been doing their job. It's completely a team effort, from maintenance all the way up to accounts payable and accounts receivable. So it's like I said, a team effort by everyone. Thank you.
Mr. Pacius, with the governor's no eviction policy, or however, whatever they call that, does that affect us at all?
The no eviction policies, yes, that does. We've basically been monitoring people that do have balances. Wanda Messiah, our collections supervisor, has been notifying these people monthly, and we are going to be sending some letters out to people based on the eviction initiative that the governor had laid out a couple of weeks ago. So
Eviction diversion program. Okay.
I'm sorry.
This is a significant issue I was going to bring up later, but now that you asked, Mr. Chairman. So every month we would send out these letters. We could not send out a 14-day notice. That's what the moratorium said. So we would send out a letter saying, this is not an eviction notice. It had that all over it. But you do have a balance on your account. If you need any help, please call us. About 30% of those people called us. Next week, 206 of those letters will go out. It's a final warning. It's saying to them, look, you owe this money. There's a ton of money out there to help them. David, you might know about this, the RAFT
Yeah.
program. If they get behind, they can apply for it. They can help catch up. So we're really doing everything we can. If they won't work with us after that, then slowly over the next 6 to 8, 12 months, we're going to have to address this backlog, because the court's not going to be able to take all those cases in. But we have many different things set up to preserve tenancies. That's our goal. But we do have 206 as of this morning who are behind on their rent.
well,
Okay. We need a motion, item 6, from anybody?
So moved.
Move. Yeah, second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts, to accept the financial comparatives for the period ending August 31st, 2020, and put on file. Any questions on the motion? Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes,
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries. Unanimous. Item 7, Executive Director's Report, Exhibit E in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
A couple of things, just on Tuesday and Thursday, at 9:30, I have a conference call with, 6 or 7 of the directors, and we go over where we are related to our operations in COVID. And we've been moving forward. I am getting a bit nervous now with the uptick in, cases in the city, about where that's gonna bring us. We do have a significant backlog of, vacancies for about 2 months, 2 to 3 months. We were not tenanting the high rises because we didn't want a bunch of people walking through the lobbies and into the elevators when we had the police officers there to limit the number of people. So we're working on that. Tramita and her staff are doing a fabulous job, and hopefully we can continue to do that. I just pray we don't go back into lockdown. We are issuing Chris Lane Bonnie's department and tenant selection are issuing vouchers. Vouchers are up and people are finding places, so that's good. Remember, our primary mission, the foundation of what we do is help people find housing. We have to do everything we can, regardless of what the situation is, to make sure people have a roof over their head. So we are using all our resources. We are doing, we're starting our organizational review. The company will interview some of the staff people starting next week. Following that, they'll want to reach out to the board members and talk to you about it. I do have Ernie right here. Could I just take this call for 1 second?
Go ahead.
It's Ernie Pettifin. Could I take the call?
Yeah.
Hi, Ernie. Ernie is on speakerphone on my phone right now, so he should be able to hear the rest of the meeting
Okay.
as we go along. So as I said, the organizational review, we will have, those people will be reaching out to us. We will set up times. They're doing the interviews primarily through Zoom, although they are out of Norwood and we can meet them there or they can come here. The state budget, it's going to be a tough year for the state budget. They have cut the budget by 4%. Our rents are obviously down because incomes are down for a number of people. As I said, collections were going to be, collections are up a bit. They're up about 6%. The tenants' accounts receivable are up about 6%. So we're really, and now, Michael, I don't know if you saw those notes I sent to you. They're looking at our liability insurance going up by 20%. So it's going to be a tough year in the state program. We did send in an application to FEMA for actually $102,000 now to get some reimbursement for costs related to the COVID. And we have done a physical needs analysis of the Campello high rise, and they have sent us a draft report. That draft report has $74 million of priority repairs and compliance issues at the high rise. Our goal is to, as I said, sell that building to ourselves for $1. Project-based Section 8's there, and then use that project-based Section 8 income to borrow income to make the improvements. So whether we could get $74 million or not, I don't know. That would be complicated. We might have to use tax credits for that, which makes it more complicated, but we are moving forward with that. It's the future of public housing. It's the way we're going to keep these buildings in good shape, and to be quite honest with you, to be better than they are, because right now public housing, it does not get the care that it needs financially to take care of these buildings. So we're
Tom, what building are you talking about, Tom?
the Campello high rise is where we're starting.
Both buildings?
Both buildings, both high rises, yes. Yep. So we knew it was large. We knew the backlog, and a lot of the things come about because once you start doing something, you have to update the 1972 code compliance to 2000. So we will have to upgrade a number of things. But one of the nice things to see in the report is they talk about enhancing the air exchange in the buildings, right? Which is healthier for everybody. But I will keep this on my report for the foreseeable future. If we're successful at this, this will be the most significant thing we've done in public housing since I've been here. Probably since the building of the places in the early 70s.
May I ask what item are you on?
We are, oh, I'm sorry, Ernie, we are on the executive director's report.
Oh,
So we've got, that's number 7.
7.
okay.
Tom, do we know how many of our residents we've lost to COVID?
We don't. I know it's in double digits. It's more than 10. At the beginning of the pandemic, we were working very closely with the Board of Health. A civil rights group became involved and stopped that information sharing. But we know that our incidences of death went way up. And if you remember at the beginning, a number of people were not diagnosed. They did not, they passed from a flu-like issue. They were simply assumed to have passed because of that. I know, Carol, you probably know of some in your building. I know there were a couple.
Yeah.
Just a question on that Campello high rise. The Section 8 part of it. I'm not sure how it would work. Can you explain that a little bit, that everybody in there would be a Section 8 person?
So yes, right now there's Section 9 people. Nobody's ever heard of Section 9. It's the part of the law that funds public housing. And it funds us at somewhere around $700, $750 per unit per month. That's including your capital and your operating subsidy. The Section 8 would fund us somewhere around $1,200 a month. So you're going to get a $450 per month per unit increase in income. Now the people have their income, their rent calculated the same way, 30% of adjusted gross income. If you're elderly or disabled, you get a deduction for that. So it's identical as far as the rent calculation goes. So it's a win-win situation. As I said, we're working with the Cambridge Housing Authority. They've done it and they have had some fabulous success on it.
Just one other thing, too. You were talking about a commercial property on the first floor or bottom floor. Are you still talking about that?
No, we haven't, I think you had brought that up. We have done things before. We had a hairdresser there. She recently left within the last year. She's only over at Caffrey now. We've had medical services down there. But if the opportunity comes about and we have a business that would work there, it's something we could do. But it's not something that it's not leading the pack right now as far as ideas there.
Right.
Okay. We need a motion, item 7.
So move.
Second,
A motion has been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to accept the executive director's report for October 22nd, 2020, and put on file. Any other questions on the motion? Roll call, Mr. Tebow? Hearing none.
Roll call with you, Mr. Pettiford.
Yes.
You said yes. Commissioner Trask,
yes,
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I get everybody?
yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 1 through 6 was 4 to, I said unanimous, but should have been 4 to 1. And now we are unanimous on item 7. Item 8, approval of change order number 4, comprehensive elevator replacements, energy conservation, Campello High Rise, project 24-6, Caffrey Towers, project 24-7, and Sullivan Towers, project 24-8, exhibit F in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
If I could ask Mr. Barry to speak on this, please.
Good afternoon. The original contract as it went out for the 10 elevators, the last 10 elevators, we called for a cab allowance to do the interior of the cabs, the same as we had done at Goddard Road and at Bel Air High Rise. The problem was that they eliminated a tow rail because of the increase of cost to the elevators cabs over the couple of years that we were through. It was processed through without it. It got approved. The problem is that we have started to see already damage to the elevator walls because of that tow rail not being in. After discussion with United Elevator, they offered to do the work with no labor, with the authority paying, just purchasing the material, and they would do the install for nothing. We thought it was definitely a way to go. We would recommend to approve the change order number 4 in the amount of, I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong one there. In the amount of $22,250 to United Elevator of 165 Enterprise Drive, Marshfield, Mass.
We need a motion, item 8.
so moved,
Was that you, Janet?
yes,
And a second?
Second it. Ernie.
A motion's been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford. Motion is to approve change order number 4 in the amount of $25,250 to the contract with United Elevator of Marshfield, Mass. For the comprehensive elevator replacement and energy conservation at Campello High Rise, project 24-6, Caffrey Towers, project 24-7, and Sullivan Tower, project 24-8. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Mr. Pettiford,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
yes,
Commissioner Trask,
Yes,
Commissioner Texera,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 9. Approval of certificate of completion consolidated and certificate of release comprehensive elevator replacements, energy conservation, Campello High Rise, project 24-6, Caffrey Towers, project 24-7, and Sullivan Tower, project 24-8. Exhibit G in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
If I could ask Mr. Barry to speak on this also.
Thank you. Again, B Squared Engineer, our engineer for the elevator replacement, has deemed United Elevator to be complete of the installation of the 10 elevators. B Squared has also confirmed that the construction work meets all applicable codes, and the United Elevator has completed all the punch list items. We would recommend to approve the certificate of completion consolidated and the certificate of release for the comprehensive elevator replacement and energy conservation at 24-6 Campello High Rise, 24-7 Caffrey Towers, and 24-8 Sullivan Towers project to United Elevator, 165 Enterprise Drive, Marshfield, Mass.
We need a motion, item 9.
so move,
And a second.
second.
A motion's been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to approve the certificate of completion consolidated and certificate of release to the contract with United Elevator of Marshfield, Mass. for the comprehensive elevator replacements and energy conservation at Campello High Rise, project 24-6, Caffrey Towers, project 24-7, and Sullivan Towers, project 24-8. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
yes,
Commissioner Texera,
yes,
Commissioner Trask,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 10. Approval of change order number 1. Phase 3C exterior repairs, Caffrey Towers, project 24-7, Exhibit H in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
Before I give this to Mr. Barry, I have to warn him that Commissioner Roberts is in her office because she had to move out of her apartment because of all the noise they were making doing this job. So, Barry, to speak on it.
Thank you. Well, obviously, this is this project started off a little differently. We were doing interior as well as the exterior, so we had to do some shuffling around on this. At the time, we were cutting back on the balcony work or exterior work to make sure we could get the interiors done at that time. But since we started this from the beginning, we have a previous project that had done some work to the balconies and put basically a fiberglass that rolled from the balcony up the side of the building on the brick. And we had been running into issues from the beginning of it once we started to do power washing. With that being said, in order to, every time they went to go and patch it or do any repairs, it just started becoming an issue, becoming costly. We went to them and negotiated back and forth probably 5 times. We've said no to their proposal to take and basically coat this entire area. It rolls up basically about 4 inches onto the brick. So what they do is they're going to roll the coating off the deck right up on top of it and all the way. This will allow us to now just basically forget about that, and it'll waterproof it and it'll secure it in place. The additional item was the brickwork on the community center, around the entire community center and the connector. the buildings and the stairwells. That was not in the original scope because we had taken it out again to add money to the apartments. It never got put back in when we just went out to the, to do the exterior. We have been back and forth, like I said, on both these items. You know, too much, bring it down and find out why he's charging the money. We're at a point that we're very comfortable with the price, and we would recommend to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $48,171.70 to Chapman Waterproofing of 620 South Street, Unit E in Holbrook, Mass.
We need a motion, item 10.
So move.
No,
Was
Give it
that
to
you, Carol?
Texera. Yeah, but give it to Texera.
it's all right. Ladies always first.
Need a second.
Second,
That's it.
Get Ernie in a second.
I got Janet Trask as a second. A motion's been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $48,171.70 to the contract with Chapman Waterproofing Company of Holbrook, Mass. for the Phase 3C exterior repairs at Caffrey Towers, project 24-7. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Pettifat,
Yes.
Commissioner Sullivan. Oh, I went out of order, didn't I? You keep bouncing around on my wall, on my screen here. Commissioner Roberts,
you want to know we're awake.
Yeah.
That's why you're doing that.
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask. Commissioner Trask,
Yeah, yes. I'm not, I am awake, I swear.
You're awake, Janet.
Don't sleep and while the meeting's on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr.
I
Chair,
just want to say the balconies look really good, though.
Thank you. It is noisy though, but hopefully we'll be out of there soon. That's all.
John, did you ask me?
I did, yes.
Yeah, I meant to say, was I the first one?
I went out of order, yes, but I
Oh, yes, I didn't answer, but yes. It just, motion carries unanimous.
Mm-hmm.
Item 11, old business. Anybody have any old business?
Oh.
Hearing none. Item 12, new business. Cal, you wanted to talk about the construction work at Caffrey Towers?
No,
You thought it was pretty good?
it's looking good. I like it. I mean, the noise is loud, but I just act like when I was living in Boston near the train station. I'm used to it.
Any other new business?
if I could just for Commissioner Pettifat, who I don't think was here when I spoke about this. We do have our organizational review going. The next couple of weeks, 3 weeks maybe, they will want to speak to the board members. So we will be making arrangements for them to contact you. And they'll ask you questions about mission and where you think the housing authority is and how you stand in the community and that kind of thing. So they're gathering a lot of information to get to know who we are. And then they'll be making recommendations to us that you'll get a report on, and we can act on it. We can act on everything they say. We can act on some of it, but we'll be making some recommendations as we move ahead.
How would that be handled, Tom? They coming to your home?
They will do it with a phone call with you, Ernie. So they're doing Zoom calls, conference calls. They could come to your house. We could make arrangements for that.
Okay, either way, doesn't matter.
Okay. I'll be talking to you individually, each one of the board members as it comes. And they'll be speaking to you also.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So, I just wanted to remind all the people that next month's meeting is moved up a week because of Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're looking at what, the 19th?
Yes, it's 2 o'clock.
It reminds me, I have a vacation planned for November 7th, to the 12th, 14th, something like that, Saturday to Saturday.
You'll be back for the meeting.
I will be back for the meeting. No, I
Yeah,
wanted to put that out. I will send out a reminder, and we'll go from there.
Hopefully, Tom, they may have a vaccination by then. We don't have to we can come in.
Well,
Right,
I
right.
hope so. I don't think by next meeting, but I hope so. Absolutely.
They were talking about something yesterday that somebody discovered something. And it's a real positive, and it's coming out before Christmas.
Yeah, there's lots of positive events on that side. I mean, we do everything, right? Wash your hands, social distance, wear your mask, and the vaccine and the treatments come along. We'll be out of this. I have 3 to 6 months. That's my guess. We'll have a pool. I might be optimistic, but
And Tom, I just wanted to thank you for the PPE that you sent us, the hand sanitizers, the mask.
in the mask, great.
Yes,
It
thank
worked
you.
out good.
Yeah, Thank
Came in
you.
handy,
I got
real handy.
mine.
there'll be something coming to you in November also. To all the,
Okay.
Any other new business? Item 12, hearing none. Item 13, we need a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
And a second.
Second,
A motion's been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Meeting adjourned. Roll call, Mr. Tebow.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, everybody have a good day.
Stay
Bye.
well.
Yeah,
Stay
you too, Janet.
Thank you, Tom.